while you establish yourself. I think that the connection is great. The only thing is that we're recording in the Zoom call, and you will be looking at one camera and the other, but it's fine. You can just look at, just feel comfortable. It doesn't really matter. People will follow us regardless. So, hello everyone. I'm seeing people starting to join. From the names, I can tell that they're coming from different places around the globe, I guess. But as always, if you can say where you are connecting from, it'll be awesome. So, you know, we can get to know a little bit more about you guys. Here today we have another interview series. As you know, these are like very informal talks with our community members. They can be former Architect US participants or current J1 visa holders within the program, or industry leaders. You know, we want to just create a debate around what we do as internationals, as international architects practicing overseas, you know, out of our home country, and finding inspiring stories that can help us to, I don't know, get a better understanding of how things, you know, are developing in the US, and to relate to others through their experiences. So today we have here Aston Yi Jun. I never know how to pronounce properly your name. Can you tell me so that?
Yi Jun. You can just call me Jun. Yeah.
Oh, so it's not Aston. I've been calling you Aston for years now.
That's my first name, but you can call me Jun. Yeah.
Jun. Jun is easier.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Jun and I think that we were just talking before connecting with you guys. We met back in 2018. That was when you, even earlier.
Yes, that was 3 years ago, exactly, 2018.
18. You were based in Germany at the time?
Yeah, I was still in Germany that time, and I approached you, I think, around the May of 2018. Yeah, that's how I get introduced to architectus.com.
Okay, so just so you know, guys, Jun is originally from Malaysia, and he practiced architecture. Well, he studied mainly in Germany, right? Your graduate.
Yes, that's correct.
And then did a master's degree in Hartford University. So that was your first, I guess, contact with the U.S. Architecture scene, and is when you kind of decided to put an eye on. Exactly. So tell us a little bit, because reading through your questionnaire, we always ask our interviewees a little bit about their interests from their early age towards architecture, because I think that that's pretty interesting, you know, to see when you fall in love with the profession, and if it actually was always clear in your mind from when, you know, since you were a kid, or if it's something actually made you change your plans because you were planning to do another career, and how did you actually ended up in our profession? So tell us, did you always knew that you want to be an architect, or how did it happen?
Yeah, so when I was a kid, I loved to watch many movies, like the sci-fi movie like Lord of the Ring, the kind of movie that have the very fancy architecture around. And beside architecture, when I was a kid, I always want to become like a computer engineering that related to the IT field. But after I grew up, because I got more the in-hand experience with like playing the Legos, and there is a architecture in Malaysia, which is the Petronas Twin Tower by the architect Caesar Patti. So yeah, when I was around 6 years old, I think, so my dad, they brought me to the Kuala Lumpur, the capital of Malaysia, and I visited the Twin Tower for the first time. And since that 6 years old time, I was, my brain is kind of like spiked by the image that I look, the amazing of the skyscraper, about how I have no idea what is architecture during that time. But after I grew up, like to the high school, like 13, 14 years old, I start to understand, okay, so the building is about the architecture. So that's how I developed the interest to be an architect in the future. Yeah, so right after the high school, I just chose the path to involve in the architectural university and the foundation for it. Yeah.
Awesome. Is it not that fascinating? I mean, I think that all of us have a specific moment where we consciously or
First introduce,
subconsciously,
yeah.
yeah, introduce into the field of architecture. And in many cases, it was, you know, years ago, and subconsciously we just fell in love with either a very impactful building, or, you know, a trip that we did, that we were experiencing a city that it was really well designed, or, you know, something that really impacted us, and that led us down the line to decide, actually I want to explore more about this. I want to be able to do my own designs and to build things, and it's really, I think it's one of the greatest things that architects do, right? Like leave a footprint on people's lives. And
Yeah,
as a
that's correct.
kid,
And
and as a
yeah,
kid you got that, right, with the Petronas. Is beautiful.
yeah, that's the experience we went through, basically. Yes. Yeah, it's very
What,
hard to explain that feeling, but yeah,
right, yeah, exactly. I mean,
yes.
it's very it's a very romantic feeling, I would say. You know, all of a sudden you don't realize that you are actually designing what is going to be your path, your career path. But at some point
Mm-hmm.
there's like an instant connection with the beauty of architecture, with how impactful it is and how powerful it is. So great. So from high school you jump into architecture. uh, Directly in Germany, or you actually studied in Malaysia?
So in Malaysia, I think I started architecture school around 2018. This year I'm 26. So I joined the architecture school right after the high school, which is like, I think it's 18 years old.
Yeah.
And that is back in 2012. I joined the foundation in architecture. It's like a pre-U program. It's about the basic introduction to
Oh,
the architecture.
that's pretty English kind of system. Like there's always
Yes, a
like a
little bit.
foundation year before you actually join the program, just to make sure that you know that you like it, right, and that you
Yeah, that's
understand
correct. Yeah.
the
So in my country, usually when before the step before you join the bachelor degree for the 4 years, we have three choices. Either we go for the foundation in science or foundation in art. But my university back in Malaysia, the Kuala Lumpur, we have the option of the foundation in architecture. Yeah,
Okay.
that's how
Oh,
I joined the pre-U
specifically.
program. Yes, they have the specific
Oh,
program. So my
interesting.
university in my country is called a UCSI,
Okay.
and after a few years, they canceled the foundation in architecture program. So I was lucky enough to have that privilege to join the foundation in architecture. Basically, it's just a pre program to introduce to us about the architecture, what it is, before we join the bachelor in the future.
That's amazing, because I think that
Yeah.
for those who haven't experienced that year gap, I would say, between high school and the real career,
Uh-huh.
architecture is pretty shocking, right? When you start studying it,
Yeah,
everything is,
there's many things gonna shock you when you
yeah,
first introduce to it. Yeah, yeah.
correct. So tell us, I'm super curious. How is a foundation specifically in an architecture program about? I mean, do you
Um,
actually get to develop a project, or how did it work?
yes. So the pre-U program is around 9 to 10 months, and we have like three simple project. So the first
Uh-huh.
project is always to introduce us about the basic form. I mean, basically we start from the basic. We learn about the manual drawing. I remember the first assignment we have is we have like A2 size paper, and we have to use a freehand to draw the straight line manually. And this is how we train ourselves to be adapting to the manual drawings. So everything I
Okay.
think is about 100% full manual. We don't
I was
have
gonna
anything
say
related
no
to,
digitally, no digital at
yes, no
all.
digital yet on the foundation, because it's about the basic form of using our natural resources, which is our hand, and about the thinking to introduce to the basic form, like an interlocking of two cubes together, that kind of the shape, and yeah, to introduce about the space. And after that, the second
Mm-hmm.
project we go into deeply to like start creating some form, some space to let the people to experience about that atmosphere. And the third project is about we transforming what we learned from the first two projects into like a small pavilion design with the shape and the form to yeah, that's how we introduced to the basic architecture.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
I
that's
mean,
the pre-U program about.
and you were 18 at that moment.
Yes, that was 18. That was like I'm 26, so it was like precisely 8 years ago.
And
Yeah.
how important do you think it was that year for you in terms of adjusting and acclimating yourself to the actual architectural career? Do you
I'm
think it
sorry, wait a
was
second.
something that you could have missed, or
So for me, during the high school, I would say I have zero exposure to manual drawing. So when I first joined the pre-U program, because everything is 100% manual, so I'm having a little bit hard time to draw. So we also have some session is about drawing like a live portrait of our own face. So
oh
I
wow.
have a pretty bad drawing about it. Yeah, but anything draw with the technical, like a basic floor plan, I would say I'm very fine with that. Yeah, just I'm very bad at the live drawing. Something
Well,
that related to organic.
it's
Yeah.
okay. We have seen your portfolio and how great you are with graphic skills now digitally.
Yeah.
That I guess that it has an impact you as a professional. That you are not a great sketcher, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I'm saying this because in many cases when we receive young architects that are willing to join the program, they're always super concerned about their sketching skills.
Yeah, that's
They can
correct.
do really well off with softwares and graphic skills, digital graphic skills, and they think that nowadays still is very important, the sketching. And I think that is just another skill that you may have or may not. Luckily enough, for those who are not, we are not great sketchers. The digital world
Yeah,
can
we
also let us
somehow get replaced by
develop.
the. Yes, that's correct.
Exactly. No, I'm just
Yeah.
saying this because it was funny when you said that you were thinking that you were going to be an engineer, but then you ended up being, in architecture. And at the same time, I read in your answers that you were saying that you are really good at graphics, but not so good as in detailing and construction.
Yeah, that's correct.
So
Yes.
probably there was like a misconnection between what you were thinking you wanted to become and what actually you were going to be, right? I mean, within yourself, the creativity was the strong asset that you had. Because
Yeah.
just so you know, guys, June won one of our portfolio challenges. I think it was last year, right? With your
Uh,
Sydney project.
I think it's around the pandemic when the pandemic started. So it's about yes, last year.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
around.
definitely recommend you guys to have a look. It's on our Instagram, but also in our blog in the section of Portfolio Challenge. It's a really, really strong project and very, very evocative and inspirational. So you should definitely check it out. And talking about your graphic skills, and again, going back to the previous question where I was saying whether that foundation year was important for you, in the coming years, just because I know that your graphic skills, rendering skills, and yeah, parametrical have led you to won many awards, and also it's been an important asset for you to use towards your O1 visa application, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about the jump, or how did you ended up landing in New York? How all did that happen? Where were your
Uh,
interests and thoughts at the time?
so I think it's back in the year of 2018 when I just graduated from the University of Hartford in Connecticut. So that time, actually, I joined this Marin Architects, the place where I'm working right now. I'm actually at the office, the four conference room.
I know that brick wall. I know it very well.
Yeah, remember you recognize the brick wall, right? Yeah. So yeah. So that in 3 years ago, I just finished my school, but actually that time I haven't done my master thesis. So basically, I need to present my master thesis back in Germany.
Oh,
So
yes,
I
that's so
went back
true.
to Germany to meet my professor that time. But after that, I was introduced by one of my friend in the university, and they say this company they need a 3D designer. So I do not hesitate. I just send my portfolio and the resume to the company, and they call me for the interview. So after that, I think I took like 2 hours bus from Connecticut all the way to New York City. Just came in for the interview with my director. So, but I told her that that time I don't have, I haven't like officially graduated from my master program yet because I do have a thesis to complete in Germany. So after that, I flew back to Germany to meet my professor to discuss about is it possible for me to like I will start as an internship in New York, and can I like remotely doing my master thesis in New York City? So the professor said yes. So I just gonna have a weekly tutorial with my professor, and I can having a full-time internship in the United States. So that time, the paperwork visa is another big challenge for me because as an immigrant, it's not easy to get a work visa, especially
Just,
during the
just, just to,
immigration.
just let me cut you off for a second, just because I still remember Marin Architects principal, Walter Marin, who is a
Yeah.
lovely, lovely guy, originally from Colombia, if I'm not wrong,
Yes, that's
that
correct.
he was calling me saying, Patty, we gotta do whatever we gotta do, but we really want Aston's back, you know, because you had to flew back in order to submit your thesis and all that, and there were some delays and issues with the paperwork and the visa, and you were doing so great with them that they really wanna have you, you know, joining their team.
Yeah, so that time is a little bit challenging because of all the legal paperwork that we have to complete in time. So that's how I get introduced to the Architect US. So yeah. So this is
Yeah, but
how the new.
how did you find us actually?
So
Because you were
I
already in the US,
that
and
time
normally people
I don't have
find us
any
from.
friend that is involved in this program that introduced me through my friends. So the way
Okay.
I found the Architect US is it was 3 years ago. I think it's directly from the Google search. I'm
Oh,
looking for a legal path to land a job in America. So, and then I just came across the Google and I found the Architect US that they can provide the start at the intern, which is a J1 program. And that's how I approached the first email to you guys. Yeah.
yeah. No, it's just that I was curious, just because you were already in the US, right? In Connecticut. So I was
Yes, that's
just
correct.
wondering if it was through any
I was still
professional.
using the student visa at that time.
Oh, you were with the student visa. Yeah,
Yeah, so
that's
basically
what I
I convert
remember.
from from the student visa to the intern visa, basically.
Yeah, but there was some, I just don't remember the specifics, but I remember that your case was a little bit challenging just because of that, because you were holding the student visa. And in the event there are any F1 holders, which is the student visa in the audience, just so you know, guys, not always is feasible to change your visa status from an F1 to a J1. It's really
Yeah,
case
that's
by
correct.
case, because it really depends on how long you've been in the US before, and well, it's very yeah, as I said, case related. But that's why Walter Marin was saying we really got to do, you know, whatever is needed in order to get him on board. He absolutely fell in love with you, and I would like you to actually explain, because you didn't get to practice architecture in Malaysia, right? I mean, straight from school
Yes,
you landed
technically
in
yes.
Marin.
Yeah. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so I was going to ask if it was very different practicing architecture in your home country or in Germany, but you actually only got the experience at Marin Architects.
Yes, so before I joined the working experience in the United States with Marin Architects, I did work for 2 years back in my country, Malaysia.
Oh, you did?
So
Okay, okay.
yeah. So
Sorry.
the biggest challenge is actually the cultural shock about the working style in the West versus in the East. It's about I'm adapting from, because I used to practice everything in metric system and came to America, everything just like upside down became imperial. Yeah. So yeah, I remember the first.
It's a real nightmare. It's a real nightmare.
Yeah, it's really a hard time because I remember the first 3 months to adapting to the inches and feet. So I used to the millimeter and so on. And yeah, so that's a difficult time. And honestly, until today, it's been my almost the 3rd year in America, and I still cannot use to the Fahrenheit. The
Oh, the
ultras.
Fahrenheit.
Yeah,
Yes.
Fahrenheit is I have no idea how to adapt. So, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at the inches and feet right now after a long time. Yeah.
That's
So that's the
interesting.
biggest challenge, basically.
So tell us, besides that challenge, the metric versus imperial system, is there any specific or main difference that you could highlight in terms of how you practice architecture back in Malaysia as opposed to the US? Do you think it was the way the projects, the teams are organized is similar? Or tell us a little bit about your experience in that regard.
So about my experience, I would say the design progress. So when before we build a building, we always started with the schematic design. Okay, the first step with the sketch in a paper about the idea, about the basic massing and the form, how the building is going to be. So I would say the design stage is pretty 100% almost similar to the rest of the world, including my country. But after we finalize the design and before the stage we go into the construction, I realized that the United States have a different approach. Like in the New York City, we have like a DOB, the Department of Building, everything. The city drawing is a little bit different from my country because my country, I would say like 60 to 70% similar, but there is many rule and regulation about the step, like the step before you go from design to construction. Like that is a inspection with the mechanical engineering, the other parties and so on. It's just like the sequence is not the same, that's it. But mostly they are almost the same.
I see, but I'm sure that is being very nurturing, right? Like you're learning on constantly just because of the way it's organized. Like I know exactly what you're saying. So when you are in the US at a very early stage, MEP, so mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and other disciplines are incorporated in the design process, and in many countries that is very different. Like in Spain, it's exactly what you're saying. I mean, you don't really think about that type of detail until you get to the phase where you are already kind of deep into construction detailing, right? But
yeah, that's correct.
in the US it's pretty common that you incorporate all that kind of thinking from the very beginning, which it actually has an impact in design. So that is interesting. We could talk about that for long because it obviously impacts the design.
Yeah, it's an endless topic about the different kind of material we use in the four season places like New York City. And the place I came from, Malaysia, is about a very tropical country, so we only have summer all the time. So yeah, the material using, the thickness of the wall we're using, the party wall in between the room, everything is like completely different. And also the roof design, yeah, everything else.
And in terms of your daily duties, that need of constant training, because it's obviously way different from what you learn back home. Do you feel like you get mentored by someone in the office? I mean, how does it work? Do they let you just to do the research yourself? How is it organized in the office when you come across
when I
these challenges?
first joined this office, I was under the supervise of my design director in the office, Mr. Pati. Yeah, so I think he's watching me right now. Yeah, so basically, when I first joined, he's basically my, you can call him as my babysitter. So basically, everything I do, I have to report to him to make sure everything is correct. I first start as like an assistant to help them with the construction drawing. And then after that, we me and him, we go into the design with the new building, and basically we discuss the idea together, which is like a 50-50 effort. And then during the process and the journey, he will guide me to, yeah, basically he will teach me every regulation and step about how the United States system is working. So I would say I learned start from zero and all the way to slowly adapt him about how the United States system is working. So
That
right
is
now, I
amazing.
think after the, yeah.
No, sorry, Cayo.
So after 1 year, I would say I'm more familiar with the system. So after 1 year, Mr. Pati will give me more flexibility to like design my own, but we have to follow the rule regulation, like the setback, those technical things, you name it. Yeah. So after that, after 1 year, I would say I have more flexibility to like design my own stuff. And then we just have to submit and discuss with the principal together to make sure the building works, and we will go into the next stage, which is the construction.
That is great because I mean you're not only working and making money through your salary and through your daily basis, but at the same time you are trained and taught into the system that you are not familiar with, and you have someone that is sitting next to you or that you can always reach out to in order to learn a specific part of the project and keep growing as a professional. That is amazing. I don't know if that is similar in Malaysia, because I think that one of the greatest things out of the American methodology in our field is that I think in general the society, I have mentioned this before, but I think that they're very meritocratic. I don't know if you agree with me, but if you really kind of respond to the opportunities that they put or that you get your along the way, or that your supervisor gives you, and you really work hard and you show that you want to learn and make better, they're going to invest on you in terms of training and dedication, and more opportunities will come. So I think that is something that you really have to be aware of from very beginning, thinking even if it's an internship or at whatever level, just to try to make the most of that kind of responsibility that your supervisor is giving you just by training you, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you agree that it was similar in Malaysia? I mean, do you always have someone that was dedicated to you in terms of teaching you how things work and how to develop them?
So I think this is this question. There is a context we need to refer. Is about the scale of the office. So back in Malaysia, I used to work in a big firm. It's called Veritas Architects. Yeah, basically the founder is a Malaysian that graduated from Harvard and Princeton, and I think it's the second largest firm in Malaysia. So the office, about all the branches, is around like 300-400 people. So so in a big firm, the way the methodology of how it works is we are basically 80% of the time we are helping the project architect to assist them with some construction drawing or something. But in the smaller scale, like Marin Architects right here, the size is about 30 people, and the way we work is more closely. We have more exposure to everything. So for me, is I would say my personal experience, the smaller the firm, we got more exposure to learn about everything. So that's the difference between the big firm and the small firm. For me, is in Malaysia and United States. So this 30 people size firm that allowed me to have more exposure to every aspect of the stage of the project. Yeah.
Totally agree with you. And that has, I mean, it can be related to your country as opposed to the US, but even within the US, that you will find that depending on the type of company you land, right? So yes. many participants ask us, is it better to start my professional career in a large structure, like in a corporate office, or I will learn more in a small office. Well, as pretty much always in life, it depends on what you are expecting, right? But I totally agree with you that, you know, in a smaller office, the chances to actually get involved in every single stage of the project, you know, are quite higher than if you land in a corporate. But that really depends also in the type of company that you land and in the moment or the project that you land, because I don't know if I mentioned this before, but when I landed HK in New York, a big structure, I also thought, oh my God, I'm going to be doing ceilings or, you know, the specific detail of a facade, or like a very specific task for a year, and had nothing to do with that. But I think that it was just because I was lucky. You know, at the moment I started a project, had to start from scratch because the plot of the competition had kind of decreased in half of the size. So basically a new project needed to be redesigned. And as I was very strong in graphic design, you know, I just started the project from the very beginning and kept going and got exposure, as Aston was saying, to client meetings, you know, consultants meetings, and going to the site, visiting, you know, it was like a very wide experience. But in most of the cases, that's not exactly what happens. And what Aston was saying is exactly the case. So I'm just trying to highlight this because it's very important that you have like a clear idea or path of what you're looking for, because that is gonna obviously define, you know, the experience that you're gonna have. So I don't know if that was just, well, you said that you heard about Marin Architects just because someone at your university mentioned to you, right? But do you have, from your experience with corporate back in Malaysia, had an interest in exploring other type of structures, or you didn't really care at the time?
So when I first found this opportunity in New York, I don't honestly that time when I got the opportunity to came for the interview, because my thinking is about I just want to focus to finish my master thesis and just graduate from the grad school. But because there's an opportunity, so I just take the step to like join as an internship and see how it's go. But surprisingly, after the internship, I think it went very well. So they decide. So I think after that, I went back to Germany to submit my thesis and started the grad school. And after that, I decided to continue like the real work. Like it's not an internship anymore. Basically, it's like a work visa back with Marin again. Yeah. So so I used to work in a corporate firm. In a corporate firm, I learned more about specific skill base like rendering, the 3D design. But after I came into the Marines, this size of office that allowed me to expose to more the construction stage and everything. So it's at the end, it found out that I really love the position and the exposure over here. So that's why I decided to stay here. But for my personal preference, I would say it's important for us as an architecture designer to experience in the large scale of office and the small scale of office. At least we know what is the different and every different stage and so on. Yeah.
Totally agree. Basically, I think that our profession, how can I say this? So I really believe that as an architect, you get better as the most exposure to multidisciplinary, different approaches, different methodologies, right, that you can. So experiencing architecture or the practice of architecture in a small office, medium size, large size, is completely different just because of the role you're going to play in the team, the responsibilities that you may ended up having, and even the protocols that the company may have or may not. You know, in a small office, probably there's not very specific procedures or protocols, and that can be also an opportunity to propose, learn, and grow. But at the same time, if you land in a very structured, you know, organization, there's so many opportunities there too, because probably if you have a specific issue with, I don't know, software, there's going to be like a team specialized in, you know, parametrics. So you can learn from
Yes.
them. Or if you really have an issue, you're struggling to, you know, finish that curtain wall detail, you can go to the construction or technical team and, you know, learn from someone that is very specialized. So I think that as June was saying, the more exposure you have to different type of architecture studios or firms, the better for your own, you know, learning curve will be, for sure. And what you were saying, I was gonna, oh yeah, you mentioned the open visa. Yeah, so that is when I was, because I was trying to remember when Walter Marin was saying specifically, we really want him back. And it didn't really make sense at the very beginning because you didn't have, you know, work for them. You haven't worked for them yet. But it's exactly when you finish your internship, your J1 visa, then you move back to Germany to submit your thesis project. And it's when he was saying we really want him back, and when we started the conversation about the open visa, right? I think it was then. So try to think it this way, guys. The J1 visa is going to be only a passport for you to land a job in the US, right? I mean, because it's limited in the time. So you can only be in a J1 visa for 18 months. It's true that, you know, you can apply for a second time in a J1, but it's a very specific procedure, and there's always like a time that you have to be out of the US. So it's not that easy. So basically just think it this way, that you will have like a year and a half opportunity to show your value as an architect, to put over the table what you can contribute in the company. But that will give you, that will be the platform to actually continue your professional career within that company through another visa. But that will come your way afterwards, right? Like, I'm sure that, I don't know if it was you who offered or who discussed this with your company, with Marin Architects, or if they actually offer it to you just because they were really happy with your performance. How did it happen?
Yes, that's correct. During that time, yeah. So I discussed with them about the future opportunity, and then the challenging part, which is another visa, basically the over. Yeah.
That's a scary moment, right? Like, oh my God, my J1 visa is about to start. I don't know how to approach this. I really wanna.
Yeah. That's
but then you realize that they are more in love with you than you are with them, which you know, when that happens is really awesome. For me, is the best thing that we do at Architect US. It's not that we give you the opportunity for a year and a half. Is that we actually kind of change your life, because now you can continue your career in the US, and who knows where it's gonna take you, right?
Yes, exactly. So.
But tell us, how did it happen? Was it really complicated to talk about that? It was natural. How do you face that moment? Because I'm sure that people will love to know.
So when I decided to continue to work with the Marin Architects, so it's about, I'm gonna make a decision. It's one of the biggest decisions in my life, because I came from Malaysia, where you have to take 30 hours flight back there. So it was completely live in a different world, because it's very far from home. So I also discussed with my family about the decision, and because during my 6-month internship back in 3 years ago in New York City, and I kind of get attracted to the strength of the diversity of this country. And I love national parks. I love to travel around the beautiful scenery in the West Coast, the East Coast,
Oh my
Alaska.
God, it's amazing.
Yeah, so, and the food, the Hispanic food is amazing. Yeah, I love the Mexico food and so on. And the culture is really great. And I can find Chinatown, I can find Koreatown, I can find literally every different kind of cultural things and exposure in here. And I met many amazing friends and so on. So that's where I decide to spend my next career in this country. So, and I was really excited about that movement when I get the work visa, the O1 visa, to continue to work here until now. So far I don't really have anything to complain about, everything is great for me. Yeah, except
So
last year the
happy to hear
pandemic,
that.
everything changed, but after that, it's fine.
Oh yeah.
It's fine right now. We just get vaccinated. Everybody is safe now. We went back to the office every day. It's like get back to the normal, like before the pandemic. So which is great.
Oh, you are all back into the office? You don't take
Yes,
turns?
my office, I think every one of us have vaccinated. Like, I think some people are just waiting for the second dose, but basically I'm vaccinated. I'm fully vaccinated like in March. Yeah.
Wow, wow, that's
Yeah.
incredible. I'm sure that people joining us from different parts of the globe, we are still struggling to get a vaccine for our elderly community. You know, for instance, in Spain, they just finished vaccinating people over 70. Can you believe that?
I see.
mean,
And also
I will get the
yeah,
vaccine for 2030 or something like that. I mean,
I get it. Yeah, that will be the last batch, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. But that's another thing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
in the US, you get access to many resources that you don't
Yes,
get,
exactly.
you know, from overseas.
And so on.
Opportunities and architectural speaking, you know, they are at the edge of new softwares, of, you know, new tools, new resources. So I think that's one of the also greatest opportunities to learn from you know, from all those new things that are going to be developed in the profession, in the career, in different countries. Like I remember Revit, when I landed in New York, I had done like a course that took me, I don't know, months to find an academy to teach me Revit. And when I landed in New York, Revit was there for already years, like 8 or 10 years. So, you know, in many cases we are behind. So that's one of the opportunities to like get exposure to all those resources from the, you know, from the first line, I guess. And in terms of the O1, was it a painful process? Because compare it to the J1, just so people kind of understand what they can face if they decide going through that route.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to like really thank you because you introduced us the amazing attorney, Mr. Jack. Yeah. So he's really a very I would say he's one of the specialized in O1 visa kind of attorney, and
that's why we recommend it to you. He's amazing.
Yeah, that's how we recommend to our another two coworker basically. Another two of them is another one she just get an O1, and there's another one is flying right now. Yeah.
So happy to hear that.
It's all
the family grows.
Yeah, it's really amazing. Yes. So the O1 is I think I spent around like 5 months to prepare the documents. Yeah, it's honestly I would say it's a very painful process because
it's like a part-time job, right?
Yeah, I don't have any reference to like I can refer to. Like I don't meet anybody that get an O1 and I can know what kind of document he have to apply for it. So everything I start with zero with Jack. But Jack gave me many resourceful template about how should I do and so on. So I just follow his footsteps together. And that time was very challenging because when I applied for the O1, I graduated from Germany, so I flew back to Malaysia, and I still have to work with Mr. Pati to assist with the company project, some 3D rendering and so on. So because the time zone different in Malaysia and United States is like 12 hours. So let's say it's 8 a.m. right here, it's 8 p.m. in my country. So basically I have to like assist the office to work through the night to morning, and I have to work with my O1 visa document. So,
oh my gosh.
But it might sound challenging and less of sleep, but I will say it's a lifetime experience that it can be memorable in the future.
Totally. Yeah. Well, you have to first remember the J1, please. Because without the J1, you wouldn't have got to the O1.
J1. Yeah, that's how it connected. So honestly, without the J1, I don't think I have the exposure connection to where I am today. Yeah. So
yeah, no, I was just kidding. I I didn't want to force you to say that, but it's true.
It's true.
In the US, yeah, every door opens to the next one, right?
Yeah, that's
And it's
correct.
exactly
Yeah.
the same. I don't know any internationals, and I have many friends from my time living there, from overseas, that pretty much we all experience the same, development, or we follow the same path. Like you can either land with an F1 as a student, or with a J1 as a trainee, as a
Yes.
temporary worker, and then you try to make yourself a position, and then get another opportunity that gives you 3 more years with a visa, and then probably renew that one for another 3 years, and then the green card, and then
Yeah.
the citizenship. So it's like a long
It's a
journey, but
long journey process. Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
but as you said, is really rewarding, because home is going to be always there, and you just take ownership of what you want to do with your career. So 5 months of preparation that you got the O1, and when was that?
I think it's 2000. When I get it, it's around 2019 August. That's when I started. I think it's August 6th. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's
Okay.
the date I start the first day after O1 and until right now.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, because you're free now, right? Like you don't have to bother about visas for a little while.
Yeah,
But
that's correct. Yeah.
did the did the obtention of the O1 visa change at all your position at the company, or to just continue naturally where you were?
You mean where I am right now at the stage of O1?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know, in some companies that have an impact, because they can invest on you for long term. And I don't know if you started as an architectural designer, or if you were at entry level, and where you are right now. You are architectural designer, right?
Yes. Yeah. So there is some specific position we must file in the petition of the O1. So I was filing the petition as architecture designer. Yeah. So that's the position.
That's
Yeah.
great. Okay.
Yeah.
And where do you see yourself in I don't know, 2 years, 5 years? I mean, do you want to develop your
So
career in the US, or would you like to at some point explore other
yeah.
countries,
So
come back home?
half years ago, I just start the process of the green card with Jack as well.
Oh wow.
So yeah. So basically, I can say I see myself in the United States, but we have no idea how long it's gonna take. Maybe 1-2 decades, maybe forever. But because back in the time when I was planning something in advance, and the thing, my target always did not happen, so it always turned out to be disappointment. So I live until a
You
condition
change your
that I was like,
strategy.
if there's an opportunity in front of me, I will just grab it and see how it's go. But surprisingly, every time it will bring me to a better opportunity. So it's like back in when I was graduate from Germany, I was looking for the job in Berlin, in Hamburg. I did not like expect to come to United States, but because my mutual friend in Connecticut, they connected me to the Marin Architects, and I saw the opportunity, and I just started with your internship, and yeah, everything is like brought me to here without I planning it. So right now I apply the green card and to see how it's go. Yeah, so basically this is what I'm doing right now. Yeah,
I think that that's a
don't
good
want to
a good
plan for the
recommendation.
outcome.
Just
Yeah,
play by the ear, but always having a backup, meaning
yes, that's
that
correct. Always
you're
have
working
to
on
do
your
it.
green card, that will give you some sort of stabilized kind of position in terms of immigration, so you can
Yeah, that's
choose
correct.
what you want to do. But at the same time, you don't really plan. You just go as it goes, and as you said, you just grab the opportunity as they come your way. I think
Yeah.
it's an intelligent way of moving forward.
Uh-huh.
And in terms of Marin Architect, how are you doing, guys? Are you busy now? How did the pandemic impact the structure? And because I know that it's been challenging for everyone.
Yeah, so I think the pandemic hits us at last year, 2020 March. Yeah, So that time is I was actually traveling in Europe, in Switzerland with my friend, and then there is a sudden message of President Trump about they are banning the incoming flight from Europe. So the office texts me. I have to fly back the next day from London all the way to New York.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
and after that, since I get back in last year, March 2020, and I think in New York City it just announced a lockdown. So the day I came back, we just start working from home ever since. And then we work from home around like 3 months. And there is one day my Wi-Fi broke down in my house, and I have to go to the office to work because I don't have the Wi-Fi access. And then I start to travel alone in the train and to the office, and that's how I get comfortable to get back to the office to work. So basically, the pandemic made all of us working from home for a certain period. I would say like 2 months. But after the third month, because of my Wi-Fi broke down, I came back to the office, and I decided to come back to the office every day. And
wow.
basically, for me, it doesn't affect my lifestyle, except the city is like less crowded and less people.
I
It's
cannot
very easy
imagine.
for
I
it's
cannot
very easy for
imagine
the
New York
commute and
City
so
right
on.
now.
Yeah. So there is some up and down about the workload. There is few times we get a little bit loosened and like not so busy, but after that, I think after 3 months of the pandemic, we start getting busy again. The project is like the construction is like keep reviving and go on. So I will say we are really doing good. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we also get busy like last year after the summer. So until right now. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I
So
mean, I think that
I
that's
think
pretty more standard. Obviously, there are companies that are still struggling, especially corporate, like larger structures, because of their obviously work no what's the word workhead is higher. They have so many salaries, so many resources.
I get it.
This
Yes,
is
I understand.
is more difficult for them, but I think that the market is picking up and the industry is doing better. So I'm happy to hear that Marin Architects manage to weather the storm and keep busy. So I don't know if you guys, if you have any questions for June, because probably you gotta go back to work. I don't know if you have much more time, but this is the moment I'm trying to check if many people were saying hi to you. I guess all your friends are here. Or were
Sorry,
here
I did
at
not
some
look at my
point.
phone. Yeah, I saw
But
the message. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, so Faith was here too. He say hi. So
Oh yes.
yeah.
Yeah, she helped me to set up the station actually.
Oh really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
What was yeah.
That's funny. So yeah, as I said, if you guys have any questions, we can share them with Aston. If not, we will continue in 2 weeks. As you know, we always invite candidates, participants, family members, Architect US family members to join us to share their story. I really hope that you find them very inspiring and encouraging just to follow your dreams. I mean, Jun's case was special, I guess, because he was already in the US and things work easily, I guess, or easier for him just because he was in the US, but it's not always the case, right? Many times you really have to chase that opportunity, but eventually it will come. So look at him, you just started at Hartford thinking that you were going to do a master's, and when was that? Like 4 years ago, 5 years ago already?
You mean when I started the master program?
Yeah.
I think it's 2000, the end of 2016, where I started my grad school at Germany.
That's what I mean. That probably at that time you
Yeah.
didn't even know, you didn't, had in mind to continue or start your professional career in the US, right? Like
Yeah,
you
that's
never
correct.
know.
I have no expectation. I have no idea how it's go. Yeah, that time I was just like, it's my first time to like go to the overseas, to the far, to the Europe all the way, and I just bringing my mood is like I'm gonna explore a new world. Yeah, that is only what I have in my mind at that time. Yeah, but everything turned out to be great at the end. So Yeah.
That's awesome. And is there anything that you would recommend our audience to do in terms of, as an international architect willing to practice in the US? You know,
So
something that you
actually,
would have
I've
wanted
been
to know before?
introduced the Architect US organization to my friend back in Malaysia to tell them about the opportunity to connect to the US. But I got few friends, they are really interested to like join the J1 program, but the perfect time, the timing is not perfect because of the pandemic happened. And then
Yes.
I know the President Trump, they banned the J1, and yeah, I have no idea how the J1 regulation right now under President Biden. But basically, I have few friends, they interested to join, but the pandemic changed everything. Yeah.
Well, luckily enough, or thank God, you know, even though the pandemic is still causing many issues and delays in the U.S. embassies and things like that, since January we've been able to process visas again.
Okay, so it started back in January.
Well, it actually the ban got lifted. Not the travel ban. The travel ban is still in place, and some countries, depending where the country you're coming from, you might have to do a quarantine, but that has nothing to do with the visa. But the Trump's proclamation back in June 2020 got lifted for the J1 visa, right? Like a few weeks before he said, well, the elections. And so it's true that at the end of the year, with all the changes that the elections brought, the pandemic and things like that, we just started processes, but it was in January when people started fleeing from different countries to the US. So since then, we have already processed quite a few J1s, thank God, because 2020 was, yeah. So tell your friends to contact us whenever they're ready, and we'll be more than happy.
Yeah, there is some of friend of mine, they are keep asking me about the United States. Yeah, and then because previously they stopped asking for a period because I think last year United States is the world leading for the pandemic because of the cases.
Oh yeah.
But I will say right now the US is doing fine. The vaccination program is doing really well, and I think like more than half of the American has been vaccinated. So
wow,
I think it's safe for
that's
people
incredible.
to enroll back in the US, architect US, and the opportunity in the United States again. Yeah. I mean, things very different from last year. So right now I would say it's getting better and get back on track like the regular time.
Awesome. Well, Jun, thank you so much for sharing your story, your experience, and all the insights that you have shared with us today. I think it's been super cool to listen how you made it and how it happened to you. And I cannot wait to see, what's next for you and to meet you in New York, hopefully my next trip. I just can't wait to be back in the city.
Okay, you are in Madrid right now, right?
Yes, yeah. The last time I traveled to the US was like December 2019, right before, yeah.
Okay.
Right before the pandemic. So that is very weird because I used to travel almost every other month. But we'll get there. Probably after the summer, I'll be able to visit my beloved New York City and travel around. So just a recommendation in terms of the national parks. I don't know if you already traveled them all, but I really recommend you Monument Valley and
yes, I did all of that. Actually, I was doing another trip on next 2 weeks to the Grand Canyon and Arizona, Utah. Yeah.
That's amazing. It's one of my favorite parts of. Yeah, I mean, everyone knows about Grand Canyon, but that area in Arizona, Nevada, Utah,
all the attraction
is full of amazing parks. So I'm sure that you'll have a great time there. So keep us posted. Share some pictures. We would love to see.
Yeah, no problem. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jun. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We will. Oops, my camera is going crazy. We will share the interview in our IGTV channel, and we will also share it in our blog. So in the event that you want to have a look later, you will find it there. So thank you so much, and speak to you soon, June.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Enjoy New York. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you very much. Have a good one. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you, June. I think it was great. He did. Oh, no, he didn't hear me. Oops, se me olvidó.